Welcome.
Thank you. Appreciate being here. Time and chairperson, rest of the senators. I've heard, first of all, I opposed the bill and I requested a hearing in the city of Milwaukee. And I've heard several people who are opposing this bill say that perhaps it should, or imply that this bill should only be applied to the worst of criminals. And there might be some merit to that. But at the same time, I stand here as somebody who could have been considered, or is considered, one of the worst criminals. In 1990, I unfortunately took someone's life. Found myself in a very difficult situation where an individual pulled a gun out on my brother and nephew. I ended up wrestling with that individual with that gun. That individual ended up getting shot, and I went to prison for 25 years. At the very same time, watching on the news, there was an elderly, she was elderly back then, but she was about 50 years old, school teacher, white school teacher. She had a daughter who had children by an ex-husband, and the ex-husband had court approval to come to the house, pick up the children, and take them with him. During the time he came to the mother's house where he was scheduled to pick the children up, the school teacher, a white lady, about 50-some years old, as I remember, came outside while he was in the car with the children, shot in the car, and killed him. And at the time, she received 5 years probation. And I thought, wow, you know, she not only killed this man who had a legal right to have his children in his possession, but she jeopardized the children as well. And the community came out and supported her. And I often ask myself, just about every day, where is she? And the reason why I ask that question is because I'm not saying that, you know, she should have been treated any differently, but I'm just looking at it and saying, I wonder what happened to her in comparison to our deaths, and not saying that what I did was any better or any worse, but at the same time, I just wonder, where is she? And what kind of support has she received from the community? I was told when I was sent to prison that if I went to prison and that if I gave my life to Jesus Christ and that if I made a legitimate attempt at reform, that I would have a chance when I came back into society. And so I accepted that when I came back it was going to be difficult. And I often wondered to myself, how come they didn't just throw away the key if I'm going to get treated the way that I'm treated? So I did everything that I was supposed to do. I went to college. I graduated with honors. I was valedictorian. I went to business school. I majored in business administration and minored in accounting. And that wouldn't work. Couldn't get jobs along those lines. So I went to school to be a brick mason. That didn't work. Went to school to be an electrician. That hasn't worked. Went to school to become a realtor. Passed the state exam. I was turned down for that. So I'm currently enrolling right now to go back to school for IT management, and I asked myself, should I really go? Because I'm currently working a job where I make about $95 a week, and I work approximately about 80 hours a week.
My God.
And so I sit here and I ask myself, what's the use? But at the same time, I'm not a quitter. And so I just have to keep fighting on. But I had a nephew who's 34 years old, and he said to me, he said, crack has never fired anybody. And I said, but that's not the route I'm going to choose, so I'm going to continue to fight on. But a lot of people who are in my situation, somebody said to me that, you know what, there is hope, because if there wasn't, we would have locked you up forever. And I would have accepted that. I had no other way but to accept responsibility for my actions. But when I was incarcerated, I was told you're incarcerated because the community needs to be protected from you. But I was told they only need to be protected for 25 years and that I would be held fully responsible for my behavior. But I was also told that I would be offered skill building opportunities that would contribute to the victim and the community restoration. And I took full advantage of those skill building opportunities, but I'm at the same time saying to myself, has the victim or the community been restored? But I sit here today because I'm not a quitter, but I want to say that this bill sends a powerful message of hopelessness and is bad public policy. And all we're asking is for an opportunity to show ourselves.
my whole thing is internalizing this whole process. And where we are right now, we're sitting and we're arguing whether the state of Wisconsin is going to allow discrimination. And in the year 2011, if you can sit here as a professional lawmaker and justify the legalization of discriminatory practices, I say you don't deserve the chair you're sitting in right now. And I heard mention of the free market, but there's nothing free about this. It's a select market. That's what we create when we come up with legislation like this, when we try to pass bills this way. If this is your idea of a jobs bill, then what are you doing or what are you pledged to do to assist the ex-felons in finding gainful employment to cooperate with this bill? Is there an option? Is there a plan on the table? Or we just let them go into society without hope, without opportunity, and only do what got them in jail in the first place? Another question I have is, what is the felonious makeup of your district? Because I know where I live, it's pretty dense. Just like a lot of people here who represent Milwaukee. We live amongst this.
That's right.
And the people who propose this bill don't live around this. They don't have to deal with this every day.
That's right.
They don't shop with these people.
That's right.
They don't wave to them when they mow their lawn.
That's right.
This is everyday life for us. This is not a bill. This is not just something that should even be voted on.
Tell them, man.
Everybody deserves to have a decent livelihood, but you want to take that away from them. The only solution you have is let them eat cake. And I'm sure everyone knows that reference. And that's how out of touch the people who come up with legislation like this is, if they think it's okay to pass something like this. And I want to take a scenario. We'll say a man that can't find a job to support his own family. And I'm going to use this scenario because this is very common. This is something that happens all the time that lands black men like myself in jail. I can be a felon. You don't know that. I have the face of a black male. That's the face of felonies in the state of Wisconsin and the city of Milwaukee. But this man, he can't find a job to support his family because the $250,000 that we were promised, those jobs aren't here yet. So with those jobs not here, he'd rather sell drugs than to see his family starve. So he goes to jail on a felony charge. And just maybe when he gets out, because of the way sentencing is, those 250,000 jobs may be here. There might be a couple left over for him. But y'all don't want to let him get the job. So what is he to do? Again, that question is, what are these people supposed to do? Even though he may have learned skills that make him a viable candidate for gainful employment once he's released, you all do not want to let him get, people who propose this bill, who plan to vote on this legislation, do not want him to work that job. Why not let this man contribute to the tax base with a job? Why not let him be productive in society? People in the legislature want to take away benefits and social safety nets from people, but you also want to take the opportunity for them to work. But if you can see the logic there, please type up a press release and put that out, because I don't see the logic in that. And I don't think anyone with any type of common sense can see the logic in that. Senator Weingart, as a former police officer, you of all people should know the recidivism rate and how that works, how people go in, come out, and go right back in. You know the reality and the ease of cycling back and forth into the criminal justice system. But legislation like this creates a labyrinth, a maze for people that are released from prison. And I'll take a quote from a guy, Dominic Kahn, is, he ain't no thug, he ain't really trying to see no judge, he just can't keep his feet out the mud. Now, if I could translate that for you, it just means that some people are in certain situations that it's harder for them to get out of than it is for other people in other types of situations. Now, I do have a few suggestions, and one thing is that I do challenge you all to find a solution, find something that these people, that these released felons can do, because it's not right at all. And to the ones who are historically on our side on these kind of issues, we need you to speak out. We need you because you are our voice as citizens. You are all we have, especially those representing the most criminally dense areas of the state, like Racine and Milwaukee. And my last point is I want to appeal to the religious right, the ones that choose to demonize and vilify a woman's right to choose, or same-sex marriage on a moral premise, but will stand for legislation like this that will discriminate against people. How dare you support something like this? this is one of the most immoral, because there's been a host of immoral bills that have come down since January 3rd, 2011. This is just another one. Leviticus 16 and 20 says, do not pervert justice, do not show partiality to the poor, or favoritism to the great, but judge your neighbor fairly. There's nothing fair about this. What this does is give every single felon a life sentence, no matter what his or her offense was.
They don't got no questions.
Questions? Any questions?
I didn't properly identify myself either. My name is Mandela Barnes, representing Milwaukee Inner City Congregations Allied for Hope.
Yes, we have your
Milwaukee.
slip.
Okay.
We do have it.
Rude. Very rude.
Thank you for your testimony. Next up, we